Hello and welcome, and today I've come to see this bridge. I find that absolutely amazing. The Göltzschtalbrücke, the railway bridge. It is the largest brick bridge in the world still, and 180 years ago this very month it was started. So that is May 1846, and so from its name, Göltzschtal, tal's a valley, so it goes over the Gulch valley, and it links the towns of Reichenbach in Vogtland and Netzschkau. And effectively you could say, well, it links Leipzig with Hof. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. 574 meters in length, and it's got a width of between 7.93 meters to 23 meters, and on it there are 98 arches. Indeed, there would have been more, but the land was found to be too soft, so they made this big arch in the middle, and that makes it even more impressive than it would have been otherwise. It was finished on the 15th of July 1851, so started on the 31st of May 1846. There's another bridge in the area, but not quite as impressive as this one. If I get a chance, I'm going to go there. And now if you go back to when the first railways were in Germany, so you got the Stockton to Darlington railway comes from my part of the world, and then the first railway in Germany was between Nuremberg and Fürth, which was opened in 1835. And so this railway line, actually the attempt to find a suitable solution to build a bridge here, it was only 10 years after the first rail line was actually launched. So on the 27th of January 1845 there was a competition, various German newspapers, with a prize was 1,000 thalers to see if anybody could come up with a suitable way of building a bridge across here. Nobody actually came up. The prize was shared by 4 people, but the person who was head of the review committee, he was Professor Johann Andreas Schubert, he used some of the ideas, and then basing it on his own experience, and he'd built a viaduct in Leibniz, which had been completed in the summer of 1845 on this rail line. So he put the ideas into that, and he based his ideas on what was then the new idea of thrust lines, which unfortunately I'm unable to explain to you. Now the thing about this is, it being the largest brick bridge, and so you wanted brick to be used because of the amount of clay deposits in the area. Now at the very bottom we can see in stress points we can actually see granite, which is obviously it's much stronger, but was not much more expensive. 6 years earlier, so we go back to 1839, Stockport, the south of Manchester, a bridge almost as long, which is 547.2 meters, but it was significantly lower. It was under 34 meters in height. That was built in just under 21 months, and so therefore they thought they could actually do this relatively quickly. Now, once they started building it, they had to change the plans several times. There was a number of technical details, difficulties. I mean, above all, for example, the land was much softer, as I said earlier, so that's why they had to build that rather large arch in the middle. But to my opinion, this is absolutely extraordinary. 50,000 bricks in an unusual format were ordered, and there was 20 brickworks along the railway line. In total, though, the amount of bricks was something like 26 million altogether, including those that were unusual size. And at the peak of construction, 150,000 bricks were being laid per day. Quite amazing. And the first test loading of the bridge was done on the 12th of July 1851, and so the inauguration ceremony was 3 days later. And to mark the opening of the final section of the railway line from Leipzig to Hof, a celebratory train pulled by the locomotive Göltzschtalbrücke of the Saxon machine factory travelled from Leipzig to Plauen, and on board was Prince Albert of Saxony, and I'm sure he had a good time. He was representing the king. Now it needs to be pointed out that the king did actually turn up. King Frederick Augustus II, he actually performed a traditional hammer blow when it was in construction. And that's what I find so amazing about this. It's still in use today, all these years later. Absolutely amazing. And to a large extent, it must be said, it's due to the work of Professor Johann Andreas Schubert, born in 1808, died in 1870. And he had, curiously enough though, he did fall out of favour with the Saxon government because he took part in politics, and he wasn't even invited to the inauguration on the 15th of July 1851. He didn't himself get rehabilitated until 1859. And what happened was this Dresden May uprising of 1851. But I think that's a story for another time. Now, in 1930, the bridge was increased. The track spacing was increased to 4 meters with the help of a new reinforced concrete roadway trough, and there was a new parapet which was put on, which I think is visible from here. And now, what about the Second World War? Because this is what did so much damage. Now the Wehrmacht, I think they mined it, but it wasn't blown up. Now you've got to bear in mind that by the time the Americans liberated this part of Saxony, Hitler was already dead, and it was this part here was actually then handed over to the Soviets in June of 1945, and this became part of East Germany. Although the border itself is only about, a former border I should say, it's only about 45 kilometers or so from here. So now it is known for one thing. I don't even know if I should even mention this in this video, but it's noted for people wishing to end it all, and because of that, the police actually do keep a keen eye on the bridge for security reasons, to make sure that nobody does actually jump off it. But there have been, I don't even want to say the word, you know the word I'm thinking of, I don't want to get banned on YouTube. There was on this very subject, seeing as I've started it up, I did a video on the way that a Nazi criminal, Globotnik, took his own life, and that not only did it get banned by YouTube, but they sent me an email saying that lots of people are very worried about me. I don't suppose anybody was worried about me, that I wanted to actually do myself in, and then give me some advice on where I could go not to do myself in. And having spent a long time on a video and then having them taking it down for no reason at all, I think that in itself seems like a good reason for wanting to do yourself in. Anyway, that all apart, that's one of the reasons. There was a film, I think, something about in German. Might have got that wrong, or something along those lines. Anyway, for me, this is an amazing piece of architecture. I did see it. It is at a trade fair. Was a picture of it, a big picture of it. And that's fantastic. I've got to go and see that. And so here I am now, seeing it. It is the symbol actually for the Vogtland, where the tourist authority. absolutely amazing. And for when it was built. I know you might be thinking, okay, you can go to Segovia in Spain. There's fantastic Roman aqueduct there, for example. Obviously built a couple of thousand years ago and still in use, I might add. But you think of this thing here actually carries these high-speed trains, and I think this is the line that linked Berlin with Munich. So it's quite amazing, and it's good that it survived the war. On the way here, I was thinking about another bridge, which is in Austria, which was blown up on the 5th of May 1945. So Hitler had been dead 5 days, and it was blown up for absolutely no reason. And it took until 1959 to replace it. And I was thinking of all these poor people having to walk around the bridge for no reason whatsoever. The amount of effort to do it, I mean, it was very, very, very steep sides. Anyway, I'll show you a little bit more about the countryside here as well, because this is quite attractive. And obviously everywhere looks attractive in mid-May. And so now, I'll give you an idea what I'm doing. I'm now travelling in an easterly direction. So yesterday I left Heilbronn, and then in the evening I was in Ansbach, because I wanted to, three things I wanted to do in Ansbach. One was I was trying to locate the grave of Waldemar Fegelein, who was the brother of Hermann Fegelein, the SS Himmler's liaison with Hitler. But now I don't think he's there at all. Although the family comes from Ansbach, I think he's in a cemetery which is approximately 10 kilometers to the north of Landsberg am Lech. In fact, I'm pretty certain of that now. So I didn't find him there. And then I also wanted to do something on, there was a German resistance fighter called Robert Limpert, 19 years old, and he was murdered judicially. Not when you say judicially murdered, it was murdered by the Wehrmacht city commander just hours before the Americans came in. And also I did a video on the murder of a Polish forced labourer, Bronisław Jóźwik, who was murdered also just before the end of the war, 16th of April 1945. And then I went to a place to the south of Nuremberg. It was a business visit and day job, and then I came here. And I think to see this bridge. And tomorrow I'm going to Sachsenberg concentration camp, and for the Museum of the Sachsenberg concentration camp. I've done a number of videos from there already, and including on their commandants. I'll try and do all of their commandants eventually. And then I haven't decided yet, I might go to do something on Operation Seraglio, April 1945, 20th of April 1945, and 10 planes, one carrying Hitler's personal stuff, which came down close to the Czech border to the south of Dresden, and that came down, and that led to the Hitler diaries. The alleged Hitler diaries were part of this in this, and that's how I've done a lot on the Hitler diaries, and I thought, well, that would be nice to go there to this place. And then I'm going to Wrocław in Poland, Sieradz in Poland, I'll be in Łódź in Poland, and then Warsaw, then Ełk. And my plan, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I really want to go drive up to northern Estonia. Anyway, that's the plan. Anyway, good. So that's a little bit about me. And so I upload every day now at 2000 hours. And I also, well, sometimes they're shorter films, but I try now doing longer films as well. I have a little bit more time to go through some of the stuff I wrote years ago, and So if you're interested in real history, then you might want to also take history membership. It costs now $7, €7, or £6. That's it. So from me in Germany, all the best. Bye for now.